welcome to another episode of The Gist, an Info Nollywood production. Today's topic is about financial responsibilities. Is it an obligation? Is it a privilege? Coming from a society in Africa where it seems as though it takes a village, you wonder, is it something that we're required to do or something that's just done out of the kindness of each person's mind? So we're going to talk about it. Welcome to The Gist. How you guys doing?
Fabulous.
Good.
Great. Awesome.
So what do you guys think about this financial obligation? I mean, from my perspective, to me, I look at it like it's a privilege to be able to do it, but there is a sense of responsibility that I also feel in wanting to be able to be financially helpful to my family, especially back home.
So it's a combo.
It's a combination. I would definitely say so.
I agree. I agree that it's a combination of both.
Yeah. So do you guys ever feel, though, that there's like pressure to do it versus just it's done and there's no questions asked? It's more so, oh, thank you, oh, thanks for thinking of me. Or do you feel like it's almost like required of you and so it's not a second thought? It's like, no, I have to do it.
Well, the reason why I said it's a combination is because I think if you have people as a child, anywhere you are, if you have parents and your parents are back home, those people, I feel like you're obligated to take care of to some extent. And honestly, I know that there's that obligation to take care of your elders, but I feel like it's not so much a privilege that you should put yourself at risk where you're giving and you can't even take care of yourself. That doesn't make sense.
Right,
at that point in time, it's self-preservation. So I think that's when it kind of becomes a privilege. But if you have, and you can take care of people like your parents or if you have siblings back home, and ever so often, you know, if your aunt or uncle or cousin calls you, maybe somebody's getting married, and you know, again, you have it, then I think it's just because you have in your family, there's that obligation.
But do you guys ever feel like there is more of an expectation of it, even if it's being done with no pressure? There's like this, people expect that if you're here, whether it's here in the United States or London or wherever else that's outside of your country, your homeland, Africa, that there's this, well, you should do it. Because even though, I mean, I agree, it's a privilege to be able to do it. I have encountered family members that almost feel like it's an obligation, whether they're expecting it from me or another family member or sibling, and there becomes this complaining level. Oh, you know, he or she is over there and they haven't even sent any money home to help us.
Well, let me just tell you all right now. Let me tell you all right now. I'm sorry. Yes, I have. For those of you who are back home talking about I'm obligated, listen, okay? I owe back taxes. The IRS was after me. I have student loans. There is rent to pay. Do y'all know what rent is?
Yes.
Okay? People paying rent $1,500 a month. Can you say
dollars?
America is expensive. Don't get me wrong. America is the land of opportunity. So you have more opportunity, but at the same time, you will work hard. So please, just because you want to buy the latest sneakers, don't be BBMing me to send you money and catch an attitude when I don't.
Get it there. I think this is an important topic. Financial literacy, whether it's in Nigeria, any part of Africa, or here in the U.S. Financial literacy is very important. But the fact that I think our culture, a lot of when you're dealing with the adults or someone older than you, our culture, you know, it's something that you don't want to offend someone. At the same time, they don't want to disclose everything that's going on. So you're kind of playing a fine line, knowing that, okay, this person keeps asking me for money, but you kind of want to know what's going on before you give money again. So I think it's a touchy subject. And
I agree with you, but I also feel that the problem comes when there's a misunderstanding of what the situation really is here in the States. I think that there's this automatic assumption that because you're here in the United States, because you are here, you have the opportunities, hence you're making all the money.
So you just give it freely.
And so it's like, well, if you're there, you must be doing well, versus, well, you're there, but you still are met with financial challenges as well.
Exactly.
So that's the only part where I start to have a problem, where I feel like, especially when I feel like it's my older uncles and aunts who, personally, I don't mind helping.
Ashamed.
Well, yeah, you know, and granted, we're not kids anymore, so eventually there's this level of equality where it comes to, okay, yeah, I can do the same things that my aunts and uncles can do, but from a young age when you're constantly being asked, or are you going to get me this? Can you buy me a computer? I'm sitting there like, I don't even have a computer. Or, can you get me this? I'm like, I don't even
computer.
Seriously,
there's nothing wrong with asking. There's nothing wrong with asking, but be reasonable. Don't be asking.
But I think it's important to also educate them on what your financial situation is so that they have a realistic perspective of, look, I definitely want to be able to help. I mean, I'm always overjoyed when I'm able to help any of my family members, but if at any time I ever felt like there was this pressure, I would instantly shut it down and just say, hey, here's the reality of the situation going on. Just because I'm here doesn't mean that I'm in a better position than you are necessarily.
Well, you know what? I think that, as you were saying, some people are not going to do that because of pride. They would rather have that, I'm in America, I'm doing it big, and I'm not struggling to pay my rent, than come out and say, hey, I really don't have it this month. Check me next month. So I really think it's up to the individual at the end of the day.
What do you think about that?
Just to piggyback on what everyone has said, I feel like when it comes to my immediate family, I feel like I'm kind of obligated somewhat to help them because I know the struggle that we've all been through as a family. I know what, we've struggled to do. Now, when it comes to family back home, when they're just expecting, I come home for a visit for Christmas, they're expecting me to bring them iPad, the latest BlackBerry iPhone.
Yeah, wrong.
Relax.
Right.
It's a little too much. Right. But when it comes to immediate family, if I'm in that position, if I'm financially stable to help them, then hey, why not? If I have it, they have it. That's
Absolutely.
And let me just say this to our people back home. Look, it's not about the fact that we don't want to help, but the reality is this is not the land or streets of gold that is being presumptive. Maybe once upon a time, but in this day and age, watch the news. We're going through
it's a recession.
Just as much financial, insecurities and stresses just like the next person. Are there opportunities? Are we keeping jobs more consistently? Yes, that's true, but bills are piling up. Things are more expensive. So money coming in, money going out. So for me, it's important to actually discourage this whole perception of what is going on here in the States because people are ready to jump on that plane and then they come and then they realize I might as well have stayed back home because things are, yes, they're not on this level yet, but they're getting
now. And guess what? When you come over here like that, now you're obligated to send money back home.
And then the tables turn.
Or they're obligated to say, help us work at the same time.
I definitely think that we need to, like you said, educate the family abroad, whether it's Africa, London, wherever. They need to be educated on the fact that there's a struggle here. There's a come up. You have to work for everything that you want here. It's not just, you're in America, you make millions, send me money for this, send me for that.
And guess what? If you can't pay your bills, no one's taking you in like back home. Back home, you can have 4 families under one roof. Here, it doesn't work that way. Not even with your immediate
They will throw your belongings on the street. They will throw all your iPad on the street.
Forget NEPA. The lights are going off.
And it's unfortunate that we feel that we need to. You made a very good point, which is, it's important for us to educate, but it's unfortunate that a lot of people don't understand that you can't go home trying to be someone you're not. You go home during the holidays, you want to go with all this money, and you want to make it look like you're doing so great. And then you wonder why when people are asking you for iPads. I don't have an iPad.
You know what, to be honest with you, those people who are fronting when they're being bombarded by requests, I'm not even really concerned. I was just thinking, what is a way that we can kind of combat that? Maybe as opposed to just sending money back home randomly, maybe we should try to send money back home and establish something so that there's a way for those people back home to produce some kind of income for themselves so that they don't have to keep
that is
BBMing me.
A lot of times you can't control or know what's going on unless you're on ground enough to see what they're doing.
Right.
If my mom or dad, which they don't, I'm practically saying, here, take some. If my mom or dad were to ever ask me, it's not even a second thought. I'll go without for them to have because I know what they have sacrificed for me.
Absolutely.
That's not a question. That's where I will take on the responsibility and go, okay, you know what, BC? You may have to, manage a little bit because mommy and daddy need you. These people went through blood, sweat, and tears, put me through school and education. Yes, I am obligated to do that. When I can't do it, I'm actually very frustrated.
So for the rest of you, it's a privilege.
Yeah, certain family members that I know they would never ask me unless it's dire.
Right.
Yes, I feel obligated to figure out how I can help them.
Right.
But when it's every time and I'm like, well, what are you doing? What are you doing? Show me something, and then I maybe feel like I can.
Okay, so
that's the problem. they're trying to find out what they are doing, trying to find out their spending habits, trying to find out why they need this money. I would like to come more from an educational standpoint, like you said, and if it's something that I can help you with, throwing money at the problem is not solving the issue. So, you know, if I have to give you some finance courses or a book, there's a book called 365 Ways to Live Cheap. But I mean, it's all
we have
kinds
to
of
be
things.
realistic, though.
Right. So some people are not going to read it. Some people say, right.
Just that.
Just give me the money.
Was that book written to internationally or for people that live here?
Because there is a
It was
different living standard, right?
That's true,
Well,
but they need
okay.
some type of structure to help them if that's the case. If that's their problem, if that's their issue.
So then we'll sum it up with saying, look, it's a privilege and an obligation depending on who you're dealing with. However, we can talk about this all day long, but we hope that we got our point across, right, to our audiences watching. So with that being said, that's it for this segment. Please check us out on our website, www.infonollywood.com for more information. And now on to trending topics. And we are back with trending topics, right fresh off the press, should I say. We've been wanting to know what's going on with Banky W and Wizkid. I mean, the hot duo, the two. Well, we got the information for you right now. Fresh off the press, Abby, what's going on?
Fresh off the press. Well, from rumor has it, and from what I've been hearing, the bromance, Wizkid and Banky W, supposedly they've separated, or they're in the process of separating. As you know, Wizkid is the #1 headliner of their EME clique group, however you call it, their record label.
Like Drake and Dirty Money.
Exactly. Wizkid, very, very hot artist right now. Wizkid feels as though he has a big enough fan base internationally now for him to be out on his own. And he has his own record label out right now. And he feels as though he's ready and he's capable of representing himself and handling himself.
So now he's real big. He's too big for his bitches. You know, let me just say this. It amazes me how quickly artists are ready to just, you know, what are we cutting the umbilical cord before you really make sure things are solid. Yes, granted, Wizkid, you are
Wizkid.
hot, and we love you and all, but unless there's a problem, you know, if it's not broke, you know what I mean, that whole thing, like, why so sudden, like, why so immediate, like, is there something wrong? Because this could go good for him, or this could go bad.
Exactly, I agree.
And what is the reasoning behind it? Okay, you feel like you're carrying the group, so you want to branch out on your own to do what? You're still going to collaborate. So what exactly is the problem?
I guess, you know what, my question is, when people get in groups, the reality of the matter is people grow, and at some point in time, you cannot be together forever. So if it's a situation where people are honest, like, hey, you know, we're doing this right now, we're together, but the reality of the matter is, you know, one day we might go our separate ways, and it's like, hey, okay, that's fine. Let's ride it out until the wheels fall off, until we get to that point. When those people get to that point, and people don't grow at the same time. So that's not to say Banky W is not going to have his great success, but maybe right now, when you're online at the cashier, it's only one person at a time. So maybe it's Wizkid's time, and if at the end of the day, it is an opportunity, his fan base has grown, it is an opportunity for him as an artist to grow and expand. I think it's a little selfish to be like, oh, well, we're like bros, man. We got to stick together, man. No, let me go. And me going to the top, getting bigger, I can even turn back and come and get you. And then we can even make it
but
even
we're
hotter.
talking about him not just growing. We're talking about him leaving his label and actually starting his own
label.
You're talking
And
about
that's
you're ready
not
now
growth?
No, it's growth, but you're saying you're at a position now where you're ready to start bringing other artists under you while you're growing. That's how I'm understanding.
But wait a minute, do we understand his level of skill and expertise and knowledge that he has with the industry to be able to say? Because you have a lot of people, even American artists, that are artists, they learn the industry, and they have the capital to go off and start their own. So I don't see anything wrong if it wasn't done treacherously.
Right. And it is going to depend on the person as well. Like you said, if he's able to take on that new challenge himself and make itself be known, okay, that's fine. Go ahead and start your own label. If not, then it's good to play your role and be the top Wizkid that you can be, and have your support with Banky W.
Well, is there
The
beef?
top
Do we know?
Wizkid.
Do we know if
Yeah,
there's beef,
to
or
be-
is it an amicable?
I
you
feel
know,
like
right.
it's just a rumor that there's beef. I mean, there's been rumors that Banky W had his album released sometime last month, and Wizkid showed up 5 minutes right before it was going to close, and he just exited. He didn't say bye. He didn't even say hello. He showed up for 5 minutes. It was about to be over, and he walked out.
Okay.
So there's been rumor that
Is
there's
there
beef,
jealousy?
but we don't know.
Thank you, my
Is there
sister.
jealousy?
That's the next thing I was gonna say.
That's
Is this
jealousy.
the case
Jealousy,
of,
bring
you
it
know
out.
what, I can do this, you don't own me, I'm big, I'm going off on my own? Or is this more like what you said, which is a thought out, you know, thorough, you know what, I really want to kind of get out there and see what's out there for me. I appreciate everything you've done, but I feel like I'm ready to go on that next step. Kind of like, what's his name did with, Wande Cole did with,
I don't really know.
What's
I ain't
his
even gonna
name?
lie, girl.
not Two-Face, but with the band.
The band
Right,
and
'cause
Dungeons,
that
yes.
to me was very amicable. Like, okay, look, I'm ready. I can do this. Let me go on my own, but still giving props to, you know, the people that helped them get
Right.
to that level. That really is the question. So if you guys know the answer to that, we would like to know, is there beef, or is this amicable, or are there things going on behind closed doors that we don't know about?
Right.
We definitely want to know, right? But that's the information we have for you guys right now. I don't know.
I feel. Go ahead.
I guess my mind, you know, my mind is always clicking, click, 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 click. So my mind is clicking, and I'm like, is it also a matter of, because let's be real, no disrespect, Banky, no disrespect, but in regards to,
Banky.
no, I would never.
Okay.
In regards to like status, Wizkid is a lot more known than Banky W. He is,
I
and
think-
so, and
I
again,
think it's a combination. I think you hear Wizkid, you think Banky, you think Banky, you think Wizkid, because without Banky there wasn't a Wizkid. So I agree
I
that
think-
he's more popular because he's got music. Banky doesn't have the level of music that's getting people hot like he does, like Wizkid does
Okay,
now.
so
But-
then Wizkid is hotter.
I think that the
That
problem
doesn't
now
mean he's
is
more
that
talented.
Well, I don't
but
even
in
think that
regards
that's the
to
question. I
to-
don't think that's even the argument. I think it's more so the fact that just like you can have an artist, you're big, but you produce something that's even bigger than you, it kind of puts you out of the limelight for a little bit,
Right.
but it doesn't make you necessarily irrelevant. It's just that right now, the other thing you got going on is making more noise than you. You see what I'm saying? Rihanna, Jay-Z.
I
Jay-Z's
agree.
always going to be hot, but right now his artist is off the charts.
I agree.
Well, first
I
of all,
think
there's
that the
no-
matter. I think the fact of the matter is that Wizkid is hot right now. He's at his peak. You know, he's hot right now. So
Peaking,
I feel
peaking.
as though if he does it in a respectful way, like, hey, Banky, I
Right.
appreciate all that you've done for me. You know, now I feel as though I'm ready and I'm capable of holding my own and stepping out on my own. I think if he does it in a respectful way like that, and he steps out on his own, fine.
Yeah.
They
And we
keep,
support
you know,
you. We
Maybe it's a
support you.
power
Let 'em
move.
go.
Maybe they're building an empire.
You know,
You know what I
exactly.
mean?
You gotta
Building
let the
an
top.
empire.
It depends, just like you said. It depends on who's at the head. If you have the top player, I guess basketball analogy. If you have Kobe and you have Phil Jackson can sit back and let Kobe go all night. He's talented. So let Wizkid do his thing, but like you said, we're
But
not sure
keep
what's
that
going
respect.
on. Right, you have to have your
People
respect.
love
You got to play your role, and
How
you can progress.
long will
But understand what's
Wizkid-
going on behind the scenes.
Be obligated to Banky.
Right.
But I honestly don't see Banky as someone who would, this is my perspective, that would be like upset or have beef with Wizkid if he chose to go on, because just like he brought Wizkid on, he's clearly showed that he can produce good talent. And if he's smart, if that's the area that you're able to do it, then you're still making money regardless. Produce high talent, let them grow, let them go.
I'm sorry, you people will not be upset with me. So honestly, I don't really know Banky W like that. Like, I know Wizkid, I know his music. Can I ask, what is it that Banky W does?
He's an
What is-
R&B singer.
He is.
Banky W is an R&B singer. He actually just had an album come out recently, his own solo album, apart set aside from the EME album that came out with this group.
I know he did something for
So-
Valentine's Day.
Yeah, he
And-
has. He's a very good R&B singer
Very
right now.
extremely
Beautiful.
talented.
He has a great fan base.
And if
So-
anyone is actually going to open up that R&B industry to Africa or to Nigeria, it really would be him. His voice is
Yes.
like
So he's a
phenomenal.
vocalist.
he's a vocalist,
and he's a very
okay.
talented writer as well. And
Okay,
see,
yep.
So my thing is, there might not be like that big space for him right now because that's not the music that's in the limelight.
So was
but
he
he's
writing
very
music
relevant.
for Wizkid? I need the connection.
It's a combination.
It's
He's
a
writing for
combination,
himself. He's
yeah.
creating his own music, but he's still collabing because he understands
Okay,
what
so they've
African music
collaborated
wants.
on a lot of songs
Oh, yeah.
together.
Yes,
Oh,
yeah.
okay,
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
All the
But they're
artists
not a
on their
group.
label.
They've just done a
No.
lot of
They're all
collaboration.
together on the
he's
label.
executive
Just
So
like
then what's the problem?
He's an
I'm very
executive
Something behind the
producer.
scenes.
It's something behind. There's more to the story.
You're right.
Well, more to the story, and we definitely want to keep you guys informed on what we know. So thank you so much for watching. Let us know if you have any questions or comments, feedback. Feel free to go to our website, as always, www.infonollywood.com. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.